All right, Bob, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Welcome to the January 4th, 2023 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. 7 o'clock in the evening, I almost said morning. And we'll start out with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to start out and just mention that the emergency exits are through the exit doors here. There's ones on the other side of the atrium and also likely where you came in on both sides of the room here. We will be calling you up individually. We will be asking you to state your name and address at the podium into the microphone loud so we can hear it, but more importantly, so that it's on the record. And we'll start with a roll call. Robert Peckham, present. Beth Mossworth.
Here.
John Miglerini.
Here.
Christian Chamberlain.
Here.
Heather Robinson.
Here.
Tim Harrington.
Present.
Aaron Lehman.
Present.
Could I get a motion for the minutes from December?
Yep, Mr. Chairman, with the meeting minutes for December 7th, 2022, I move to approve.
Second.
Seconded by John. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I'll abstain. Motion carries. The minutes are approved. Thank you. So with that, am I missing anything? I think we're good. You keep me honest. That's good.
Yeah, we're good.
We'll start out with application 2022-87 and 2022-92, which is Tantia Bell and Osley Porter.
Yes.
Tanita.
Tania. Oh, I apologize.
Nah.
Please come up to the podium, whoever will represent, whether it's. I'm not gonna rush you either, I know.
Nah. We good.
Bob, if I may interrupt for just one moment, can we also make a quick announcement about Southridge?
Oh, yes, I apologize. You don't have to move. The other thing that we should let you know is that the Southridge Landing application that was expected to be heard today has been postponed till next month for some further information. So, thank you, sir. Please state your name again and address for the record.
Osley Porter, 199 Colony Lane,
Welcome.
Rochester, New York.
So, Mr. Porter, you have already put most of the driveway in already.
Yes.
And you're looking to widen the bottom to 48?
You got pictures? I should have brought some photos.
Yeah, I think.
Actually, we got to take away from what me and Kevin kind of discovered, just a little portion of it.
So we are looking at it. We have pictures on our tablets
Right.
that show us the information. So I think we're talking about the area that's at an angle.
Yes.
Okay, please describe what you're doing.
We got stakes out there. I didn't bring the pictures. I should have, but I've been down for a couple of weeks. If I can recollect my memory, coming in, we need to come up about 3 feet. That portion is good, but it's about an angle. It's just like a slight curve we have to do. Just take that portion out.
Oh, there you go. You can see right.
Yeah.
Can you see it on screen?
To the left of it, we just need to curve it and bring it at a peak to make it look a little bit more appealing, but it's not much needs to come out. You know, he came out one night, I was doing my garage and we went off with the other guy spray painting and we finally figured it out. And it wasn't much at all, actually.
So, Kevin, I'm going to ask you, is this something, so what we're seeing on the display is what is there today, right? That's there today?
Yes. Yeah, this is.
And then the question that I have is, you're asking him to cut it to get to the point that we're hearing today?
So what we discussed was, I mean, I went over the code far as a 24-foot in width in
Yes,
the right of way only.
yes,
And we discussed whether he was going to cut it back to 24 up to the right of way and then, or ask for a variance to leave it as is. That's why that 48-foot number is there for the right of way.
so that's why he's here today, because
Correct.
instead
If you
of cutting.
guys are good with it the way it is, you vote on it. If not, then we'll work on making sure at least the right of way portion is 24. Then we have the second application for the
Right.
the driveway itself being 58.
And one of, if you don't mind,
I don't mind.
I got equipment that I pull in after work and there was no turnaround room and I normally park on the grass and it balls the grass. And
What do you do? What type of equipment is it?
construction,
Okay.
trailers. I got some trailers and stuff. Instead of unpacking and unloading that stuff, just no turnaround room. With the work vehicles and my, the wife, her car and my personal car, I got the 1500 Ram and I put the 12-foot, either I got two trailers, either 12-foot trailer or 16-foot, I use.
And you keep those here or it's just for a turnaround?
When I come home, it depends on where I'm working at. I'm all over the place and, too tired sometime coming, I just like to pull up, but normally I will pull in the grass in the front of the house and that's not too appealing. And
Yeah.
sometimes if I can just pull up the way I design, I normally pull up right there. It's designed perfect. I can just back up, pull off instead of pulling in the grass. Where the personal vehicles, we wouldn't have to move anything. Nobody would have to come out of the house, everything.
So when you say you pull up on the left-hand side where the additional is, you just pull in there
I just pull in and it's easier for me to back out.
and then you can back out
Just
without
pull away,
disturbing,
yep.
right?
You're at the angle.
So then what changes what changes in that procedure would be altered if you were to make the changes you just?
Not much. If you were to see it, it's really, it's really not much. I tell you, it's like a small curve. It's not much. And Kevin came out and we actually discovered it together. So it wasn't much at all.
I'm just looking at the notes on the applications real quick.
How many work vehicles do you have?
I got one work
Just
vehicle.
one?
Yeah, that I'm always using. I got my personal vehicle and she has her personal vehicle.
Do you anticipate any more personal vehicles in the future?
My daughter, she comes and goes and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin, are there any issues with having these trailers out front?
As long as they're licensed, they can be, it's preferably, or it's required for them to be on the driveway.
Yep.
So long as they're licensed, personal vehicles, it's a commercial use, but it's his business, so that's permitted.
Okay, good. Are there any questions from the board? Any more questions from the board?
I know it was discussed in the workshop, but we do have the letter from highway superintendent that states that he will take no issue with the dimensions as is.
As is.
So forgive me if this was discussed and I missed it. Was there an application presented before the construction of what we see today?
Yeah, I got an application on the whole shebang, man. I just had a hard time with getting materials, a lot of shipment delays and
There wasn't an application for zoning board. There was he's got at least one or maybe two permits open for renovations on the home.
yeah,
So
and
he
that
added the
also was with
garage.
the widening of the garage, because you can see it, we had to put an addition on the garage, which, we had to widen that, and so I don't know if that would include it. I don't know.
But specifically, Tim, you're asking about the driveway.
You're right, the width of the driveway.
No,
No,
So there was not, so this is because there was not an application and then after the fact, the application was needed because you saw it.
correct.
And so now we have to deal with the zoning variance because A, it was too wide at the driveway and B, it was too wide at the right of way.
Correct.
Yeah, this isn't the first time this has happened. Did the vendor or supplier or did you install this yourself, the driveway?
somewhat. I stoned it and tamped it, but I don't do asphalt, so they came and did the asphalt for me.
And did they discuss code or question code?
Nah.
They never do.
Never.
Yeah.
When it comes, you know how it is.
Okay. So the real question, Tim, I think I believe what you're getting at, the real question is, we're getting this after the fact and then we're being asked to approve something that's already there and make, it's a situation that's not comfortable for us. Likewise, probably not for him as well.
Right, and ultimately we have to make the decision based on what's best for the town, not what exists today, right? It's.
Well, the decision should be made for multiple facets.
sure.
It should be for the applicant. It should be for the neighbors and the community. And so,
That's a good point. So often we'll have something presented to us and one of the questions is there any feedback from neighbors? because this already exists, that would be relevant. Have you gotten any feedback from your?
No,
immediate-
they've got a lot of business off of me.
Yeah.
They love
Oh.
it. None of it.
It's good to know people.
Yeah.
So originally the driveway was very narrow, it was just one car garage, right?
Yeah, it was, yes,
And-
yes.
And so
Two now.
you actually, you just didn't move it, you widened the driveway, you also widened it in the other direction as well, when
Yeah.
you you're widening the garage, so you how much more did you widen it on the other side?
On
from
the other
where-
side, see, I did a concrete walkway on the other side to the left, right?
On the, well, on,
Which
To the driveway.
right?
to your
How much
right, to your
did you
right,
add to
yeah,
the Garage.
yeah, where the railing,
Let's
with
see,
the,
it was 9 feet, I think, on a permit, maybe 9 feet, 8 and some change, 9 feet, whatever the width was for the opening. And I
Okay,
had to
so-
come back and pull it again because it was a single. It was one single, but originally the architect did a double, but it was just too narrow.
Mhm.
Came back with new plans, had to hire a new architect. And he gave me a 16-foot door, which I just received.
okay,
And yeah, that was it. So maybe, let's see, that was 8 and 8, maybe 8 feet. Yeah, because it's a 16-foot garage door.
okay, so it was 8 feet wider on the right-hand side of the property.
Right.
From the.
As you're looking at it.
Exactly.
As you're looking at it, yes.
And what we would have to do, call in advance, come on out, move your car and,
Mhm,
I mean, the wife was born there. We've been owning the house for 40, 50 years, but,
mhm,
just made some alterations.
Right,
So just to say it out loud, the dilemma that we have is that usually you come to us and say, we'd like to do this, and we say yes or no.
Okay,
The dilemma that we have is you did it and then came to us and said, is it okay?
right.
And to be honest, I think it's too wide.
Okay,
I understand the benefit to you,
right.
but if we say no, that's a substantial burden to you. So it puts us in a bad spot.
Indeed.
And I think that's what Tim was getting at before. So we will take a vote on this and, I don't know what the answer will be. We'll decide here. But, I mean, that's the dilemma that we both have.
I
right? We
understand.
both have it. So we'll address this. Are there more questions here from the board members?
so
Yes.
just, no, apologies, basically just, so in the pictures, in this picture here, so this is not the final. I mean,
So-
you talk about cutting into it and shaping it.
No. This was the final, but
That's
When
if
Kevin-
we decline. He will shape it if we decline it.
right.
Okay,
So there's two things on order here for us. The width of the whole driveway, which using the picture, I'm gonna say there's like shrubs. Not shrub, like new plantings there at the edge of the driveway. That distance for us is in question, and also at the right of way. The reason he would have to arc it is because the right of way is not just the entrance to the driveway, it's also X amount of feet in. Which they've looked at stakes or whatever, and they can figure that out. So we have to decide if we want him to cut that dimensions of that driveway down, either in width of overall driveway and or at the right of way. That's the questions that we have in front of us today, too.
well, the right of way, it looks like, he didn't cut into the actual curb there, so,
No.
so that was
the
actually
right of way-
originally,
Mhm.
The right of way is still 10 feet or whatever.
right, but the driveway curved out a lot at the.
Yeah. I don't see how that really makes any.
Mhm.
Now, currently the width that you have is what for the driveway width?
No,
is
I was asking basically
58
about the fact that
feet.
this curve was
How-
always,
Can you make
it was
that
always this.
more
Yes.
narrow?
And actually, because it
And to make
went
your
outwards.
needs, because I mean, there's a picture here with a Google Earth of.
Well, we got it. The guys came out and spray painted where, I guess where they wanted it to be.
No.
And
Hey, guys,
I had some spray paint cans and he had a tape measure, I had a tape measure, and we
Original picture.
did where it needed to be.
Hold on a second.
So just in case you denied it, I'm, ready and willing to make that happen. I don't know if that answers your question.
So-
And that narrows it, it comes up and then it just curves over.
Yep. So that's more so the entrance. What I'm talking about is the width of the actual driveway itself.
Well, that's what we got it to make it legal. It's hard to explain it, but to make it legal, I guess from what they spray painted, whoever came out and surveyed it originally, they left some orange spray paint. So they wanted it to be, where they got it at, spray painted. So I got stakes after he came, just to come to the board to make that happen, to come up, to narrow it and arch it over to make it legal.
Right. So,
Without application, or I'm sorry, without a variance is what he's saying.
For the right of way.
entrance.
but just for the
Only
entrance,
for the entrance.
right?
But you're here for two things. It's the
You're here
entrance
for the
and the width.
Yep.
What are you asking?
The entrance isn't new though. Down
Mm.
here,
The problem,
No, it's down here.
because he didn't do the curb, he didn't cut the
So
curb.
what truck do you do? So
The
the
problem is
vehicle,
here.
you have is it a truck or a van?
So I got but I'm out in all kind of vehicles, but it is a truck, 1500.
1,500.
Yeah.
Do you usually have a trailer?
Yes,
Okay.
that's,
Roughly how big is your trailer?
it's a 16. I got a 16 and a 12.
This was not,
Okay, so at least a 16.
I can. She got my phone, but yeah, I should have supplied photos. It's a dump trailer, I use it for work.
Yeah.
Detach it.
I mean, you could see where it was
Was.
here. So this is like what, a foot? Maybe 2 foot?
well, hang on, that's a foot. Yes. The problem is, I believe the problem is here. So he's gonna have to cut it like this.
If you want me to draw a diagram or right quick?
No, I actually, I understand what you're saying. The angle for the right of way goes to here,
Right.
to here. It's not at the road. It's at the, 10 feet or whatever into the driveway.
Mhm.
So the problem is that angle is too wide. He needs to, if we decline, he needs to arch that to make it so that he's 24 feet at the, or 24 feet on the driveway. I think he has a problem here too.
Yeah, because that's probably 8 foot right there.
So we have to decide this. Are there more questions for him?
It might be advisable that we
Postpone
put
this?
this to the end and discuss.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm
Can I
gonna
ask-
postpone this, not for days, but for 15, 20 minutes. We're gonna postpone it to the end. We're gonna discuss it among ourselves.
Okay.
You'll be here, you'll hear what we're
And
saying.
you sure you don't want me to give you a brief diagram with a piece of paper right quick and show you what we?
That wouldn't hurt if you.
I'm gonna draw it up on the survey map here and I'll pass it around.
We'll
I know
have that.
exactly what he's
That'll
got.
be part of what we do when we have
Okay.
you come up. So have a seat for a few minutes. We'll.
Hey, Bob,
this is-
can I
okay.
ask one question before?
Oh,
we
yeah,
take
hang on
off?
1 second. Hang on 1 second, sir.
Just a
Sorry.
quick question. If you were to have to cut it back, would you still be able to park your truck and trailers there?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Because it wasn't, literally, once you see it, it wasn't
Mhm.
much.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So grab a seat. We'll call you back up after the other applications are done. Thank you, sir. We will now do 2022-089, which is 1393 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road. If we could have you state your name and address for the record, we would appreciate that.
Yep, Leon Heberger, 1393 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road, Rochester.
Thank you. Welcome.
Well,
So we spoke on the phone earlier today.
yep,
And you're looking to, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're looking to tear down an existing shed because it's dilapidated and it doesn't work well. And you want to build a new shed in its place.
right. So
Mhm.
the existing shed, when I bought the house in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
it had a 10 by 10 old shed.
Mhm.
So I've just utilized it for as long as I could. And it was I always packed it.
Don't we
So
all?
now that it's time to replace,
Mhm.
I'd rather just go with something that's 10 by 16, a little bit longer, and then I can store things a little more efficiently.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. I'm going to utilize the same pad.
Mm-hmm. And you said it's going to be a wood shed with a tin roof.
Yep, metal roof, wood shed.
Are you going to run water or electricity to it?
No water, no
Okay.
electricity.
How many stories? Just
One, just a single story. I got a picture if you want a picture. You want a picture?
If you hold it up, it's fine.
Yeah, you can hold it up. That's fine.
Do you need a copy of it?
It's just a basic,
Yep.
Oh, stand.
Straight.
Standard shed. Okay.
it'll be made off-site and delivered and dropped.
Will it match the house color wise?
Everything, yep.
You said it's the same pad. What's the pad made out of?
Pad's a concrete pad.
Mhm.
And I would just extend it a little bit with stone, just for drainage.
Yeah.
And I'm not going any wider, just be a little longer, that's all.
Okay,
Mhm.
no further questions.
Any other questions from other board members? Any questions from or comments from members of the audience? Nope. With that, we can close this application.
Online.
I think, Heather, is there anybody online?
I do have one person, but no commentary at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to application number ZBA 2022-089 for an area variance, I move to approve as follows. Whereas the zoning board has duly advised and held a public hearing, has considered all relevant information, and has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variance. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. The property already has a similar shed located on the property. Adjacent properties include businesses with commercial-like buildings. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative. The owner requires the proposed shed to replace a dysfunctional shed and to accommodate storage needs. The variance requested is not substantial. The proposed variance for an additional square footage is not substantial as the footprint will only be an additional 43 square feet. The variance will not have a negative effect on the physical or environmental conditions. Surrounding physical and environmental conditions are not foreseen resulting from the proposed shed. The difficulty relating to the variance was self-created. The requested variance is a result of the homeowner's need for a larger shed that is currently allowed by zoning requirements. However, the additional requested square footage is not outside the surrounding context. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings that the zoning board of appeals hereby approve the variance as presented.
I'll second.
Seconded by Heather. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. How long is the variance good for?
1 year.
All right, because I wouldn't be doing this till probably spring.
Yeah,
So you're covered.
When would I get, obviously I'd need a permit too, right?
That's correct.
You
And
can stop down the building department. We'll give you a call. I'll let them know to process it for you tomorrow.
And how long's the permit good for?
Well, 6 months, but we can extend it to 1 year if you just
Yeah, I just
request
need to
it.
get to like March,
Yep.
April.
Yep, they're good for 6 months for a
Okay.
shed. So
All
if you
right.
want to request an additional 6 months right off the bat, we can do that with no
Okay.
charge.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Hope you
you.
have a nice evening.
good evening.
I did it for you. Have a nice evening. That was funny. 88 Candleford Heights, application 2022-090.
Hi,
Name and
board,
address.
good evening, board members. Rich Battisti. I'm with Faber Builders, Inc. Here to ask for a area variance to have a 30-foot wide driveway where 24-foot is allowed in the right of way.
In the right way. Thank you. I appreciate Favor coming ahead of building it this, so thank you.
Yeah.
That's nice to
Well, the home is built.
yeah. But you didn't pour, or you
No,
didn't,
we did not pave it yet.
pave it. Who has the lead on this one?
So the garage is that 3 cars? Is that correct?
It is a 3-car garage.
Okay, and then the distance between the garage entrance to the sidewalk, is that approximately 1 car length?
think
Yeah,
it's more than-
just a little bit over a car length.
Okay. But obviously you don't park
I
on.
think we have 35-foot setback there, 31.
All right. And then this driveway would be like really close to that 1 utility box.
Yes, and actually that part we don't need a variance for because I think you're allowed 30 foot at the proper,
Because of the-
you're allowed 30 foot till you get to the right of way.
Right.
They just don't want to reduce it down because they'd like to be able to go all the way down.
But how close is the driveway to the utility
But
box?
the utility box is on the property line. That's probably about
Okay,
4 feet.
so that it's not like they're gonna run into it. hopefully.
Oh, no, no. Well,
Hopefully
Well,
not.
hopefully not. Neighbors been happy. Okay, so it's more an aesthetically pleasing than tapering it down.
Yeah, and I think they'd like to be able to drive straight out of, yes, it's aesthetically better looking. They spent a lot of money on this house. I don't know if you've driven by
Yep,
it, but
nice
it's,
looking house.
yeah, they've spent quite a bit, over $500,000 anyways. And she'd also like to be able to drive straight out of the third car rather than have to curve it.
Now, there's also a manhole in this space that you're asking us to do this in.
There is, yeah, and we would pave around it, obviously, make it flush with the driveway. I did ask Tim Lessing.
Yep,
highway
we saw the
buyer.
note in the file that he's given it his thumbs up if we approve it.
Yep.
So also I'm in a Faber community right up the street. All of our driveways have a curve in. And very few of them have 30-foot straight out, even if there's three car wide driveway or garage, I mean. And that works. There's some nice things to having it straight out. In my opinion, I think that it looks gigantic in that neighborhood. And the other ones that have done it without asking, we've even had some of them cut them back at the road. Tim seems to approve this one, but that's if we do. I think it's too wide at the road. I do not think that should be that wide. From my aesthetic eye, I don't think that looks good. And it's just a giant driveway. The whole front yard is a giant driveway. It already is, but I don't think that has to be everybody else's problem too at the right of way. So.
Do you know how many cars the homeowners have?
I don't, at least two, and then they'd like to have guests, probably three, because they're gonna be using a third car garage, so.
Okay, I just didn't know if they talked about, I don't know, a summer car. Okay,
Kids, whatever it may be.
kids, yeah.
Yeah, they have three children, so.
So there'll be at least 5 coming down the road. Any questions? Any more questions from the board members? How does everybody? Oh, hang on. Any questions from members of the audience? Heather?
Nothing still.
Okay. I say no. My vote is no. How about you guys?
It's at least logical that is the width of the garage. The intent of the garage is to store cars. The cars have to come in and out. I think that makes sense. I don't like that it's that wide, but I understand that.
Aaron?
I'm gonna have to go no, and my standpoint is that my personal thing is if we start to allow driveways being too wide all over the place, we're going to start to increase the amount of stormwater issues we have.
Sure.
And
The runoff is a concern for you.
right, and professional guidelines that I deal with frequently recommend the reduction of pavement if possible.
Compared to the square footage of everything on that property, this is not a huge lot. I don't think it might be deep. I don't know the answer to that, but it's not a huge
really.
lot in width. And it is a gigantic driveway in my opinion.
I could say something to that
Please,
point. Yeah.
of course, it's still open.
The setbacks in the subdivision are less than typical. And so that there's already a reduction in pavement. If, with the standard width driveway, had this driveway been 50 feet long, there would be extra pavement. Even at the standard 24-foot width.
Yeah, the back.
So as far as stormwater runoff, I don't think there's any more. And in fact, we give more of a backyard that allows for more, less pavement and less coverage for the runoff.
Thank you. John, how do you feel about that?
I'd be okay with it because that way it matches with the garages.
Okay. Beth?
I'm pretty the same boat you are, I think, as far as, I think it's just too wide as far as, wide where the garage is, yes, but if it can be cut down at the road, pretty much on the same page you are.
Okay. So with that, I think we're gonna end up, I think we have the answer, so
Alright.
I'll have to, Four.
Or, okay.
So with that, we'll close the application, but I'll have to take it because you're not, okay.
Mr. Chairman, were you willing to give them anything on this, or is it just a flat out no? As far as the negotiation of less of a variance.
What were the votes?
Four, no,
Four against.
4 against.
Usually you guys, if there's any compromise, that's the only.
But I don't really see it there. There's not enough room to,
And we're only asking to make it as wide as the garage itself, you know.
I understand.
Yeah.
If you go through the other neighborhoods, even other ones in this neighborhood, not all of them are straight. The only ones that are like that are, there's a small chunk of them that are. I'm in the neighborhood right around the corner. 3 cars wide, 2 cars at the road. And a majority of our neighborhood is like that. There's 1 or 2 exceptions, and they look like parking lots. So my personal opinion, and I'm 1 of 7, so that's it's a vote here. But my personal opinion is I do not like the way that looks. I think the driveways are too large and the offset's too shallow, which I think is a problem. I think the parking's an issue there. We've had others in the neighborhood that we've declined as well. At the corner of Candleford, and I forgot the name of the street that goes in.
Oh, yeah.
They had already cut it and started doing it, and we stopped that. 2 up around the corner, the guy with J. Crew Landscaping, and another one, we made them cut back.
Weren't those wider than 30 feet though? I think I recall.
They were wider than the.
At the road, though, none of them were that wide.
No, nothing at the road.
I
was
don't
that
think we
wide.
accepted any of them at the road 30 feet.
It was just the width of the driveway itself. If we had to.
I
A
could
lot
be,
of
I
times
could
those
be
already
proven
done.
wrong, but I don't think, yeah, and they're already done,
A lot of times.
which, we had to make them cut it out for some of them, so.
I mean. To me, I don't see much more like a testimony of why. They needed to have it that
What-
big. I mean, I get the,
And they can't park there. That's not a spot they can park. The right of way, you can't park in the right of way. I mean, maybe if there's a party you do, but you can't do that regularly.
This was basically so they can drive straight out as opposed to having to jog a little bit when they pull out. Pull back
That's
in.
what they're asking for.
Yeah.
And I understand it. And we're only talking about 6 feet,
right,
So.
or not even.
Would we condition it that the entrance changes, but the rest of the width is okay, or?
No, they're asking for a right of way. And so the distance, the width in the right of way is what they're asking for, Tim. And because of that, we aren't addressing the driveway because that's within code. Because it's a 3-car wide, they can,
Got it.
because it's 3-car wide, they can have it up to the width of the garage.
so.
Mhm.
I guess, follow up on Kevin's question to us is would we, I mean, I know that they're asking for 30, but would we, consider 28 or 26?
Compared to
Entrance.
2 feet difference
I'm aware, but
versus 27
no, versus 30,
or 24, I'm sorry.
24.
Anything would help actually, because as one of the board members noted, there is an electrical box there. So when you do turn, you know that, if you're backing out and you make that turn, your nose does go out past the radius a little bit, so.
It is halfway up the driveway, right?
Yeah,
It's a 30-foot give or take driveway is what I heard. So
31,
it's
yeah.
31, so it's 15 or 16 feet of space before that. So I understand. I appreciate that. I don't know if I don't agree with it, but that's okay. Does that change your opinion? Does any of this change your opinion, Heather? Because I feel like you're questioning your opinion.
I mean, I would accept like 26. But I mean, I don't know what you guys feel. Especially if, Tim had already approved or gave his okay with the 30.
For the only weight that I put on Tim's email is that he's not going to block it later. So he has no say in how we feel about this.
No, I
He
know.
can undo what we've done. If he's already given his blessing for it, that's fine, but he is not a decision in this except for the other direction of that. I don't know if that was clear what my thought process was there, but
Cause it would still achieve the look of, I mean, tapering and kind of like similar to where, you know, where you live. But, I mean, it is only 2 feet, so.
no. It's 24 feet's allowed at the right of way.
Right, but if we do 26.
Yeah.
It's only an extra 2 feet, so,
Well, in that case, do you feel like doing it the whole width is what I'm asking, what I was.
no, definitely not 30.
Okay.
I don't mean to sound redundant, but should we table this so that we can do open discussion and talk amongst ourselves or not?
We're at the end, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Where do we table it to?
Right, got it. So I would make the argument that the driveway is more than just cars in and out. You know, in my day, it was a place to play and do stuff, but so it's a place to do stuff. If the driveway is wider than the garage, then I don't know how you would justify that, other than, you know, for other reasons, but in this case, it's owner cars in and out. And so I think that it's logical and looks logical. The driveway is the width top to bottom of the garage. It makes sense for the current owner, for the next owner. To me, it seems logical, big, and I wouldn't like it. The other point is that you mentioned that there aren't a lot of these in the area. I think that's an indication that this isn't gonna happen all that often, and in this case, we've got a customer with a house that is logical for the size.
All of them are 31 feet off the road. I'm sure there's some variation, but approximately 31 feet.
Just not at the entrance.
But we're also making a change to the character of the neighborhood. If we do allow this.
Right,
That is
if it's
true.
the only ones.
That is true.
So,
I don't discount what you're saying at all,
yeah.
but I do not agree with it.
Okay, so the options would be deny it and then come back with an alteration that there's some kind of a cutaway at the entrance, so.
No, we can approve it with an alteration if we want,
Mhm.
or we can deny it and then it's done. It's 24 feet.
But then we don't have any influence over the shape that is chosen from the width that we dictate to how it transitions into the full width that's 31 feet.
As long as it goes down to 24 feet at the end of the day.
Right
that's
away.
the right away, yeah.
It could go 30 feet straight down to the right of way, 90 degrees to 24.
Right.
And then that
Straight
one,
up.
It would look
Yeah.
silly, but
Right.
okay, got your point.
the
Yeah,
option is you come up to 24, then they flare it to make it look good, but then they lose some.
They could be
lose some-
literally 24 and then go directly to 31.
Mhm. You would also, I mean, to me, that's gonna cause the car's gonna drive over the grass every time. but
The grass.
Create mud, like the grass won't. grow.
well, but yeah, has anybody seen a driveway like that though?
Are you,
Okay, so then is there any compromise from the 24 code in between 24 and 31 that it is today or not?
30.
31. Well, 30, I'm sorry, 30 at the entrance.
31 length.
for the bound. Got it, got it.
I mean, if we did the 26, it would go, that would mean 4 feet of that garage is not paved, or from the right of way is not paved. So they would be short 4 feet
to
from
the
the top,
driveway, not to their garage?
right?
The
Yeah,
garage
so
can
it'd be
still
paved up
be
to the
30.
garage, but it would be 4 feet over by the right of way,
Mine is a 3-car wide garage and it goes like this.
right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
It's 27 feet at the road, 24 feet at the right of way, and 27 is the flare, 24 feet at the right of way, and 30, whatever.
Right.
That is 30 or 31, whatever it is at the core of.
So you're 24 at the road, 27?
No, it's 27 at the road because it flares, like every driveway does. They sort of flare out, so we
Mhm.
start 27 at the road, goes in 2 or 3 feet. Stays that distance for a little ways and then flares out to the garage or to the
Mhm.
third garage spot. I can't drive straight into my third garage spot without going over my grass. Just like I'm saying, here, same building. Aaron, does that change your mind?
No.
Heather, Christian?
No.
Are there anything that you would accept in the middle of this? I'm not just looking at you, I'm looking at the 4 of us.
I just don't think that there's any,
Okay.
not really, no, I don't.
Okay. So with that, we will end up taking a vote, but I will write up the resolution here.
Well, the application is
from
not
you.
closed.
Oh, yeah. I will close the application. With that, I'll close this application It'll take a moment for me to finish the paperwork here. Oh, you already did it. Oh,
No.
I don't know how to. What was that?
Isn't there a reset?
Oh, good point. It doesn't work.
I think you gotta close it now and then. Or back out of it and then.
And yours is closed?
Hmm.
No. Okay, so I will.
If you're having technical difficulties, you can write it out and then,
Yeah, I'll just say it.
and you want a piece of paper?
No, I'll just say it and then I'll transcribe it on.
Okay.
Oh, the only thing they raised was the
So
information. at
put
the
your
top.
name in there. Here, I'll tell you. I've done that. Page 4. VA 2022 090.
So with regards to an application number ZBA 2022-090 for an area variance, I move to deny as follows. Whereas the zoning board has duly advertised and held public hearing, has considered all relevant information and has considered the potential benefit to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community in relation to such variances. Now therefore be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of fact. The variance will result in an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. The large driveway creates an undesirable look. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative. The variance requested is not or is substantial as compared to the overall size of the driveway to the front lot. And the variance will not have a negative effect on physical or environmental conditions, and the difficulty related to the variance was self-created. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby denies the variance as presented.
I'll second that.
Seconded by, oh,
I just have one for a procedural reason. Did you ask for any comments?
I did.
You did. Okay, I was running in and out. I apologize. Okay.
So seconded by Christian. All in favor of denial of the application signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Okay, so
Opposed, sorry. I said aye for approve.
We were
For
approving
denial.
Diane.
Denial, sorry.
so you are
Denial.
aye for, okay.
Aye for denial.
So we have three that are not for this and four that have approved the variant, or I'm sorry, that have denied the variance as proposed. So with that, the motion does not carry and the variance is denied.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Can I just get a review of the members who said nay on that? Beth, John, and
Beth, John, and Tim.
Tim, thank you.
Yes,
Sorry, pregnancy brain.
no, that's okay. And then we will bring you back up for the. And so with that application's closed. Oh, and now we're gonna, I'm sorry, hold, we're gonna have a discussion. So I will close the meeting for a minute
We didn't ask any,
for members of the
member,
audience.
yeah, for him, his application.
Before I close the application, or I'm sorry, the meeting for a discussion, is there any questions from the audience regarding the 199 Colony Lane application? Heather, I assume it's a no, right?
Yeah, still no activity.
Okay, so with that, I'll close the meeting. We'll have our discussion and then afterwards I will ask you up, but for right now you hold and we'll talk and then we'll get you back up here, okay? So I'll close the meeting for a few minutes at 7:45. So,
Do you want to write this before you forget?
no,
Okay, just throwing it out.
I'll
there.
get it in a minute, but no, and Heather will probably let me anyway, so I'll have to go back through the notes there. So the question here, it's already built.
Yep.
He was looking for 2 variances. Kevin is gonna show us a drawing of what he's,
Actually, let me show that to the applicant first.
yeah.
Okay. Good thinking.
But while he's doing that, the question at hand is 2 parts.
Mhm.
Do we accept the wide driveway? Do we accept the widened area at the right of way? Of an already built driveway?
Right. Do we know what would be the western width is?
Hang on, I don't know the directions here. Let me look at
You
it.
talk about the right-hand side of where the garage is.
So no, so the part that is perpendicular to the house on the, what would be the west edge?
I don't see it. I don't see a,
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, it's to the east. I'm
so the
looking at-
road, Colony Lane side is, I assume what you're discussing? I'm sorry, I don't see
It's on,
So,
it's
no,
hard to
so this width right here is what I'm curious about.
hear.
this.
So this right here?
The distance between
How
the,
wide the driveway is in the highlight, so the length, the width of the
We
highlight.
don't, that was,
yes, I understand your question. I don't know the answer.
Okay,
We
Well,
do
that-
though, don't we? Isn't it?
That map isn't really up to date because the garage is actually larger.
8 feet wider.
this right here,
What you got?
We're talking about that. Okay, that part there.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, you're talking about the top.
So once he
here.
gets approval
That's-
for that.
Because the garage now goes to
can go
about
down
here
to
and the
to
driveway
right.
comes all the way down.
But not here.
Not, it's not,
What's
just- that's what it originally was.
This
now,
side, he would be covered,
That one.
but not that side.
His picture is before of
So
the,
it's-
before. he
So I'm
widened
wondering,
it to
like,
two cars.
this width right here, like if that's 24 feet, I mean, that could
I
go
don't know
way
if that's
down.
right. I'm saying that's what I believe.
Yeah,
And I'll ask
problem
Eric.
is that drawing is wrong,
Hey, Eric,
and this
That's-
is real.
Right.
when he, I'm showing you this picture and maybe Kevin's the one to answer it, but can you see it from there?
Yep.
He has
So,
apparently
on
widened this
the
driveway
last-
or the
The
garage.
very, so we
And
just.
the code will allow him to have
essentially
that
they're
driveway
asking
that
for
width.
something
Like you can have it the width of the garage,
Higher than garage, right?
Right.
just like we saw with the
Much
fire
larger
one that we
yard,
just
much
declined. They
faster,
have that
much
because the
back.
driveway is 30 feet or whatever wide.
Right.
So he had that put on, he
And now
can do
the
the
curb
driveway
cut,
there,
though,
but this side of it is
that's what
not
I'm curious
necessarily
about, was this the
automatic.
original
That's
curb
what he's
cut?
asking for.
Right.
Let's see the
Okay,
drawing.
so,
Part that he's already done.
The problem is for him to.
yeah, but he might have done that afterwards. I
He's-
guess that's what we gotta, also, I'm curious.
driveway-
So what are the total widths of this driveway? 58 or whatever the numbers that we're asking for.
No, you wouldn't
With-
demolish
with
that
the
edge.
garage, so
Right.
it's Major, it's growth.
Right.
As it is right now, originally he had about 27 feet.
The other consideration
And
is
flare.
doesn't have the roof, he's got these
That
trucks.
just went, basically went from
Right.
here straight into the garage.
But he can't legally.
And now I see he added on to this. You can see it in the picture.
Without a driveway.
So then it's back to pulling it in,
Here.
waiting for somebody to come out and move a car.
Mhm.
I think this is the place in this area.
Right, there's the flare, right. So that's the existing flare that was there.
The
You
flare
wanna
was-
see how wide the flare is.
Flare was very pronounced originally.
I don't know how, but
Oh, I thought we had a.
I don't think that he.
Yeah, he just has a.
he's, I'll share this absolutely.
Tyler, can you pull up the
Pictures.
pictures of the driveway?
See, originally it was.
The one with the car
It
in
was
it.
already this wide.
Yes,
He just basically.
Which one did you need?
Are here.
the one with the
This is
car and the
extended out,
driveway.
Right,
Okay,
basically,
Basically straighten this out.
he straightened this part, yes, because
Because that's how wide the driveway is now.
the driveway was
sorry,
originally
I meant
this
the-
wide,
The flare was
I meant the
that
garage
wide,
is the word I was trying to say.
the flare.
right? So the garage width,
Basically, he just kind of removed that flare, just cut it and added onto when you extended the
Thank you,
garage out.
I
Heather, if you scroll in,
Zoom in is
Or
what
zoom in,
Beth's
sorry.
asking.
I don't think the curb was cut, so the
No.
flare was
No,
already.
it was already there. So he basically, all this underneath my finger is now paved.
so what we're
Right.
looking at that you can see
And the
where
garage.
the marriage of the old
Garage is not
pavement
much
to the new pavement. You
Yes,
can see the line of the flare.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the line.
What was added at the very bottom and then filled in with the width of what was added to the garage. That's about a foot. If you're eye
But-
measuring it, but you can see the add-in or the marriage of the two, and there's a little bit of probably
Over.
sealant that put it all together when they put that in. So you can see the two markers of the driveway, what was there and what was added in for the width of the garage.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's on this other side, the left-hand side.
So just to remember that this, oh, what's the total width of the whole driveway? 58 from right to the, in front of the car,
From there
basically.
over to where
About
that is.
60 feet.
For the extension.
How wide is it from, say, for example, from the extreme right-hand side to the post there that's kind of at the, yeah, from there all the way to the right?
The garage is 25 feet,
So it's about.
so it's about 25 foot. At the garage itself, the driveway is 25.
So the,
Okay.
so if it went just, it was just for the garage, it'd be 25 feet wide. So there's an additional
30.
32.
20.
From
33?
This point, to this corner. This actually kind of flares back in a little bit towards.
Well, it flares out more. Okay, so
Yeah, so I mean, it's right here, it's 58. I don't know what the dimension is here. It's.
Couple feet.
okay, so
53.
that picture doesn't quite show that. It looked like, I thought that line where the new bushes are there, I thought that was perpendicular to the road, but
It
it's
is
not.
not, no.
Oh, it's
It-
30
there
feet.
is an angle.
I looked.
There's an
I
angle.
don't know.
At the bottom?
Well, it's roughly. Is
His
it
F
convenient that we
158
have the
Trailer is roughly
light
30 feet.
that's green, essentially where you're saying
There's a light flare on the
there's a
picture.
light flare on the
Oh.
picture, but that's basically where you would
Curb was-
cut that in.
The curb was.
Do we have a sketch of the potential adjustment?
No.
Cause you can kind of see where the old flare was.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to- I'll pass it over to you. It's gonna have to go from here and sort of cut into the right of way.
So right now.
Straight into the right of way.
This and that.
So.
Heather, could you scroll over to the left, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
The blue
Forget
line,
about any of this. It's this.
well, we have two
Right.
questions.
If you guys can see where Kevin is pointing,
We have
Oh,
two
but
variances.
this-
for-
that was the existing curb cut
It's
for the
this width.
flare.
Right.
It's this.
It's hard to see, but.
Correct.
They're asking to
Well,
change
it's
the curb
also-
cut, though.
No,
within
no.
right of way,
Right.
then-
But it's how much it would
Right.
need to be
This
removed.
is,
but the-
this is the 48 from the right of way right here. But what I thought you
Tim,
showed was.
Tim, he's showing it.
Here.
That's where the right of way
we
is.
have to Go essentially straight in, if you get on the angle here, it'd be like this to that right away. And then whatever you allow, you know, when you be cutting out that little triangle. essentially.
So that's what we're asking for, if we allow the 58-foot wide driveway.
If we allow by what is presented or that triangular-ish
Whatever.
area.
So remember, I'm repeating something you just said. There's two questions. 58-foot wide. If we allow that, then by the car there stays where it is. If we don't allow the right of way distance that he's asking for, he has to cut what Kevin just drew,
Well,
roughly.
here,
Got it.
That's the second.
And
application.
he's allowed.
And then he's
what,
fine
after
with
the
it.
right of way.
He's fine where the car is then.
So he's
The
allowed
car is
24.
reasonably fine. That's why the applicant said it's not that big of a deal of what we're asking to cut out if we approve the width of the driveway.
I still think it's too wide.
Which,
But I mean, when you're looking at this, so this was the size of the driveway before,
the entrance.
the entrance to the driveway.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I mean, what's that, another foot? I mean, that's no big deal. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know if it's another foot. I think it might just be overlap.
and the curb was never caught to do this.
that doesn't.
Did they recut the curb?
No, it probably
Can't ask them
tapered
though.
down.
When I was out there, it appeared that it was not.
A fresh cut. Okay. Not a fresh cut.
The curb there is pretty old itself.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a new curb.
Share thoughts.
Yeah, sure thoughts.
So we got a pretty unique condition here, right? So this is a massive driveway. It's pre-existing. But a couple of things that are unique about this, we haven't talked about the fact that there's what looks to be some sort of a patio. It's not quite, almost width of the patio. We've got an occupation that demands these vehicles in the absence of a driveway this wide. Not gonna change the occupation, that means there would be trucks that would be parking in grass, which is not legal. He's
Mhm.
trying to comply in some sense with what's legal.
Mhm.
And the alternatives, it seems, are going back to the juggling act of the cars, which I think we've heard in testimonies several times and I can understand that that's difficult.
Yeah, or the applicant has to drive the truck back to wherever he stores it.
I don't know that that's.
Or
anywhere,
parking in the
To be
street.
honest with you,
And we can ask him when he comes
It
back up,
was
but I
more
feel that
in the
here,
road or in the yard.
And then for both of the width requests, if we deny, the impact to the owner would be substantial, both in construction costs and, solution to where do I park these vehicles? So it's tough.
it is.
I mean,
I still think.
to reduce the if any asphalt is removed, it's a saw cut and then you take away 6 inches of stone and you can put topsoil. Is a repair. It's still a cost though, because I mean,
And
you
where
just
do you
can't go
put
out
it?
there with a regular saw. It's a diamond blade saw to saw cut the asphalt and then you got to remove it. But
I mean, you're not gonna ask him to cut it on the side where he just built the
Garage.
new garage. Because
Right, right.
code says he can go right straight down
That would be
to the
allowed.
garage.
I mean,
To cut out that little sliver that Kevin has approximated, it seems useless. It seems, arbitrary.
Okay, let's just real quick have a straw man. What are you feeling, Aaron? I can come back to you if you want.
yeah, please.
Tim, and give me an answer for both.
Yeah, I don't like it, but that's irrelevant. I think it's logical for this very unique condition. I do want to ask the applicants one more time. Not just about feedback from the customer neighbors, but also how does he feel this fits within the character of the neighborhood?
Mhm.
But ultimately, I think this is a rare case where I think this width for both of the requests makes sense.
Okay. Heather,
I think it's too wide. I think he still can.
both or either?
Both.
Okay.
I'm fine with both.
I am fine with how it is presented based on testimony given. The fact that this would keep a truck and a trailer out of the road
Mhm.
and out of a yard.
You're a fan of
Making
it.
it a safer situation for other people in that area when they back it out. I mean, you have a 26-foot long truck and a 20 to 30-foot trailer. That's not a.
So you're okay with it?
It's a good point.
Christian?
I think it's too wide, honestly. I think with it's excessive, and as far as I know what he's expending to have a 2-car garage, so it's. I think there's, even with to turn around a truck with a trailer. I think it's too wide, and I think that he needs to also, do that cut on at the end there so the right of way needs to be cut too. So I guess that means I'm a no on both.
Okay. Aaron?
I mean, I understand the need for a turnaround and, the layout wise, it makes sense to go to the edge of the walkway there that's at the house. I mean, comparing it to what we just reviewed, the yard is much bigger and the house is much further back.
I agree.
On the lot too.
So I am okay with the width of the driveway, but I am not okay with the width of the right of way.
Okay, and I didn't say anything earlier, but actually in this one, I sort of followed Tim's feeling on this. I'm actually, I don't like it at all, just to be clear. I don't think I don't like it. As a neighbor, I wouldn't like it. But I do think that this makes a lot of sense, and with Beth's comment too, I think there's a safety component. And I think we should ask that question of the applicant, but at the same point, I think this is gonna pass, so.
Yeah, that's actually, I like that comment too, because in the absence of the width, you're doing more in and out and juggling of cars, which increases the potential for a hasty mistake of, I didn't see that kid or that bicycle or whatever.
Or I end up in my yard anyways,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't, I disagree, but. I
Well-
mean, how busy really is Colony Lane?
no, I don't think it's the road that's that big a
I
deal,
mean-
but at the same point, it's keeping it off the road.
Actually.
And I do think that I see. He's. Yeah,
I mean,
I appreciate your stance on it.
yeah,
I don't agree with it, but I appreciate it. And we'll have the vote count says that we have to go through, so. With all of that discussion that you've heard, I will reopen the meeting. It is
you're running it.
7:59. I will call you back up, sir. And then we'll ask you one or two more questions and you got to experience the process, whether you, the kids liked it or not, I don't know, but you got to experience the process.
I didn't see a basketball hoop in there either.
Make sure you reopen the meeting.
I did, 7:59, I opened it.
Oh,
So with that, thank you for spending the time with us. Tim, you want to ask the question that you had?
Yeah, so I asked about feedback from the neighbors. You said no issues. But specifically, let me ask you a slightly different question. In your opinion, this is unique. In your opinion, is this out of character for the neighborhood, or will the neighbors interpret this as out of character for the neighborhood? Knowing what your occupation is and why it needs to be this way.
Well, I had one person question me, and once I told them about what I did and the trailers, and they understood it. But I've gotten about 5 different jobs off of the look of it, and I didn't have any other complaints about it. Yeah, it's a lot of dog walking. They walk it's a lot of traffic, believe it or not, because it's on the corner.
It is on the corner of
And it's
Masthead, which is the main entrance off of
Lehigh.
Lehigh.
And plus you also have Robin Wood Trail, so it's centered between 2 crossroads. And then, let's not talk about the Christmas lights on Colony. Just down the street from it.
Fair
It's a
enough.
lot of traffic.
It is. So with that, Tim, does that satisfy your answer? Does the answer satisfy your question?
Yes.
Are there more questions from the board?
I did have one question. So I know your wife grew up in that house. Do you plan on keeping that house within the family?
Yes, it was for her. It was more sentimental value for her. That's the only reason the investment was made. But it was brutal. But she was literally born in the house.
Okay.
And how, the addition you put on to the left of when you're looking at it to the left of it, is that more bedrooms or?
That's a yes. Yeah, master bedroom, bathroom, everything included. Because it was it was brutal.
It was a small house.
It was brutal. But she wanted it. Grandfather went to Florida, and
I understand.
okay,
Say no more.
all right,
This is a very common thing that
okay,
the husbands can understand.
right.
Maybe the wives too. So with that, Heather, do you have more questions? Okay, anyone else? Any questions? Other Heather from the audience?
Still quiet here.
With that, we can close this application and we need just a moment to.
Okay.
I was gonna start it for you, Bob.
Oh.
But you were talking too fast. I was gonna try and type it while you're doing it.
Yeah, I can't talk slow.
Ms. Boss, we have.
I think Heather did.
I'll like this after. Okay. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Did you close the application? You closed the?
I did.
Oh, okay. Mr. Chairman, with regards to application ZBA 2022-087 and 092 for an area variance, I move to approve. Whereas the zoning board has duly advertised and held public hearings, has considered all relevant information, and has considered the potential benefits to the applicant versus the potential detriment to the neighborhood or community and result of such variance. Now therefore be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals makes the following findings of facts. The variance will not result in an undesirable change to the neighborhood as the project is already done. The variance cannot be achieved by some other feasible alternative. Again, the driveway was already put in and the applicant added addition to the garage. The variance requested is substantial. But again, project is already done and resident does need the parking. The variance will not have a negative effect on the physical or environmental condition of the neighborhood. The difficulties resulted to the variance was self-created. And be it further resolved that based upon the above findings, the zoning board of appeals hereby approves as presented.
A second.
Seconded by Tim Harrington. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
So opposed, we have Christian and Heather. Aaron, were you?
I was for it.
Okay, and Aaron is for it. So it's Christian and Heather opposed. With that, the motion carries. You're approved, so you don't have to cut it.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Sorry for the extra time, but
No,
appreciate
we're all
your-
set.
your patience.
All set? All right, thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
with that, we will close the meeting at 8:05.
Second.
I will say that your kids were very patient with us.
Have a nice evening.